My journey with the English language has been a pretty interesting one. For starters, I began learning when I was like 3 years old. So, right off the bat, there is a certain advantage because I started when I had just begun speaking my native language, which is Romanian, and my second language is Spanish. So I was just bombarding myself, or I was just bombarded by the outside world with three different languages at a young age. So in the end, I grew up speaking three languages and speaking them well. So that was my unfair advantage, that I spoke a lot of languages from a very, very ripe age. But what have I been doing since then in order to maintain my English? Because, of course, sometimes I make grammar mistakes. Sometimes I feel as if I just do not know the most basic stuff in English, like the most basic grammar particles or stuff like that. But other times I do feel like the god of English, like a god incarnate. So how do I do it? What do I do in order to maintain my English speaking skills? Well, it's really basic, and I probably don't need to say it to you, but living in English is pretty much sufficient. And when I say living in English, what I mean is running a YouTube channel in English, speaking in English on a daily basis, because I don't record YouTube videos every single day, but I still do feel the obligation to record YouTube videos every once in a while, if not daily, maybe like once every 2 days, every other day. And I have kind of connected my perception of myself, my own perception of my own quality, to my English speaking abilities. In order to feel human, in order to feel normal and successful, I am obliged to speak English. So just tie your own self perception to your language learning. And this is not only like related to English. You can also learn French with this, Spanish with this, Romanian with this. Currently, I'm learning French and I'm absolutely loving it. Well, kind of despising it at the same time, because every single day that I go without learning French, I feel like a goddamn imbecile. So, in order to not feel like a goddamn imbecile, I need to pick up a French grammar book. I have some like right here next to me, but they have three other books on top of them, so I don't want to like knock anything down. Just believe me that I have grammar books, that I watch Easy French on YouTube, really good channel. I watch documentaries in French. It's a blast. So for starters, just connect your language learning with, I don't know, your own perception of your perception of your own human quality. Secondly, read, listen to, and watch things in English. For example, one of the most egregious mistakes that you can do whilst learning any language is watching series, or I don't know, TV shows in English, but in your target language. I'll just use that term, target language, but with subtitles in your native language. For example, there are a lot of people. I'm taking this example from Easy, actually, because I love his video on how to learn a language. But for example, there are a lot of people that try to learn Japanese by watching anime, and that's not a bad way of learning. But they put on English subtitles and end up just reading the subtitles, of course, because that's so much easier. You're not going to actually, you can't, maybe you can, but it's really hard to read subtitles in your native language and convince your brain that it should still give a crap about whatever like foreign language it's hearing. Your brain will just like read the subtitles, understand the essence of what is going on, and will not care. Will just not care about the audio. And how are you, if you're a beginner in like Japanese or any other language, how are you going to correlate the audio with like the writing? Maybe if it's like a singular word, maybe you can correlate it, but if it's an entire sentence, if it's an entire speech, then how do you know that, I don't know, in French, mère means mother and lampe means lamp? I don't know. Bad example, but you get the point. Do not watch series in like, you need to eliminate every single to the last trace of your native language whilst interacting with your foreign language. Of course, you can use translators. Like, for example, my favorite translator is Reverso Context. It's so good. Just look it up. You can, but actually, what I think is even better is going to the dictionary of your target language, searching up the word, looking for the word that you don't know, and reading the definition. This is if you already have like an A1, A2 level in the A2 level in the language, because you'll be able to actually decipher what the meaning of the word is. And if you don't, then yeah, of course, translate it to your native language. But you want to stay as far away from your native language as possible. When I read stuff like, I don't know, Wuthering Heights, really Shakespeare, King Lear, really dense and thought-provoking and just hard literature, English literature, but also American literature. I absolutely adore American literature. I don't even Google the words that I don't know whilst reading, because that's, first, this is like a reading tip. First, that is disrupting the reading experience, but also, and you need momentum, but also it's a little bit too much interacting with something else that isn't just like pure target language. If you're, for example, you're most likely searching on Google in English. I do this. It's part of the process of autocolonization. But if you're learning French or Japanese or German, whatever you're learning, Spanish, Romanian, whatever, and want to search for a word on Google, well, the word Google needs to be pronounced with an American accent from the get-go. So you've immediately exposed yourself to another language that might not be your target language. And quite honestly, you probably don't need help learning English. So I'm just so baffled looking at sources that try to teach you English, because just by being a human being that interacts with the outside world, you have an A2 level, at least an A2 level in English. And if you don't, well, you're doomed. You're literally doomed. You're tied to the train tracks and doomed. It's over. So take this video with a pinch of salt, because I have learned all 3 languages that I speak from a very early young age, and don't know a lot about learning English as a second language as a 40-year-old, but I still have a little bit of authority because I do know the struggles and hardships of language learning, of L2 acquisition, of language 2 acquisition, because of my trials and tribulations learning French. So, I hope this video helps. Subscribe to the channel if you want to join this movement of social sciences, bringing back the desire to speak with people and reviving the humanities. And send this video to somebody that you love, or somebody who needs it. Or do a double whammy and send it to someone that you love and who needs it at the same time. I'll see you later.